Guys, I'm looking at an old CPE 18 from 1995. We're taking this thing out. No refrigerant in the system, so easy takeout. I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this unit here and get started underneath, disconnecting the little spider duct system. We're gonna replace it as well. Guys, I'm fresh out of the crawl space. I pulled some of our ductwork out. We'll take a look at it. Still have to pull out the air handler, get it disconnected electrically, and then I can sort of see where our new air handler is gonna go. Let's see right over here. It's a new air handler. We'll see where it's going to go. And if it's going to go in the same spot, it probably will. There's not a super great spot to put it, so old spot just as good as any other spot. There's our ductwork over there. I'm going to carry it over here, put it in a little pile. Then I can take the unit and put it on the back of the truck for scrap. Get the new air handler off. I didn't bring too much today because at first I thought my brother was going to join me this afternoon, but then he couldn't join me. So now it's just all by my lonesome, just like the old days. Man, I don't want it to be like the old days. Deep back there in the abyss, you can see with the air handler. There's my box I made yesterday. See if we can get a little bit closer. See the air handler back in there on blocks. Just got it set a few minutes ago. Our trash. Around the corner, I'm working on the old janitorial unit, taking the electrical off of it. So day one's pretty much over, getting all the other stuff out. Hopefully my brother will be with me in the morning. We can knock out this duct. Here's a look inside the end of this unit. You can see there's our control compartment, our low voltage capacitor, ant laden contactor, ants all over it, so it wasn't working either probably. Our defrost board, our Bristol compressor. This is one of the ones you access from the end. And I guess they came out, this is a 95, so I guess it's right around this point where they switched body styles to the wraparound black coil. We are in a closet. I have to cut out an access because one of the ducts is messed up in the wall, so we're going to see how it looks in there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stephen left out all dressed in black, and he never came. He never came. Going upstairs. They're messed up, so I'm going to feed another one. What puts a man in that place? What strikes the match to start the blaze and watch it burn? What makes a man turn? He feels his heartbeat in his throat. It starts to ache. It starts to choke. A pain begins to crowd his thought. He wants a teacher. What has he taught? Teaches them to burn. He teaches them to burn. Have our new flex spliced on. Our splice collar up at the top. Little sandwich coming through the hole down here. So I'll leave a little bit of extra. Even though it might bunch up a little bit, it's better than having that collar drug down to the bottom where it's going to rip it in half. He wants the counselor, wants the friend, the one that they turn to save them again. And now he's gone, gone, long gone, to the place where the lost souls go. They go to burn. It's not about 12,000 days. It's about today, only today. Now he had a Goodman out there since 1995, so he thinks Goodman's are the best. The best it's ever been. Guys, here's the GSZ 14018 1.5 ton heat pump. I didn't get a chance to film much of today's work because we were kind of trying to bust it out as much as we could because I had to leave around 3 o'clock to go take my daughter somewhere. So I wanted to get as much work done as possible. I'll be back here either tomorrow or Monday to finish it up, start it up, and I'll try to get a little bit more video of the startup process. And I'll show you the duct system. We created a little plenum flexing box, basically a box on the front with the spider ducts coming off of it. So, but we'll see it a little bit closer on Monday. This is our unit. Small town of Wallace. There's a train depot. Very nice. Nice old buildings. Nice storefront. Fortunately, I'm very bored because I'm waiting for my daughter to come out of dance class. See, there's a nice train depot over there. Well, she's in there taking pictures for her clogging team. Clogging team is like tap, except louder and more country. So I'm stuck out here waiting. So I figured we might have a blog.
He wants the counselor, wants the friend, the one that they turn to save them again. And now he's gone, long gone to the place.
I'm letting my nitrogen off the unit. I had it over the weekend at 155 pounds. It was still at 155 pounds when I got here. So I'm letting it off so I can hook up my vacuum pump. And there's our sleeve over there. Guys, you can see the return flex is done over there. I'll have to crawl back there to look at the dryer vent. Our drain is run over now to the wall. Right there. Have a P-trap in, have a float switch in it. I put float switches in the drain that are in the crawl space as well. Just in case they get backed up, it doesn't ruin the environment inside the house by flooding out the air handler. Had to add one more boot. I did that already. So I have to crawl back there to take a look at that dryer vent here in a little while. Otherwise, we'll be starting it up here shortly. I'm opening up the liquid service valve, letting some refrigerant into the system. As you can see here, I have to put my other gauge on. And then once we're done, we can go ahead and start it up and let it run for a little while. Testing the heat strips out. We have 66.8. 87.9. We're going to check out the airflow. This is a 20 by 20 grill. We're going to use about a 0.68, 0.7 K factor for this grill. Check it out. Based on some of my previous experience, we're going to see what kind of airflow we have coming across this grill.
They go to burn. It's not about 12,000 days. It's about today, only today. Soon they all will have erased every feeling in every face. They will burn, 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 burn.
Alright guys, so we have 680 CFM running through our system. We're letting it run in heat for a little while. I'm an idiot. I put the wrong gauge on the wrong one because I'm going to run it in cooling here in a minute. Probably shut it off. There. I'm going to switch it to cooling once it warms up inside a little bit. So, nice and quiet. Started up real quiet. Really quiet for a scroll. But, got to tidy up the wire over there. And take a look at that dryer vent down there. Punched a hole in the wall. But we're getting there. Guys, the system started up in cooling. I have one clamp here on the liquid line for subcooling. I have one clamp here, our Chinese clamp on the suction line for superheat. Our pressures are right around 210, kind of cool outside, and we have around 112, 113 on the low side. We are at 67 and 59, so at 59 here, we're about at 38 or so, so we're just around 20 degrees of superheat. We're at 67 now over here, which means we have about a 5-degree subcooling. So far so good. We're gonna let it run for another 10 minutes or so to level out, and we'll check it again. As you guys can see, we had about an 18-degree temperature difference. We are running at around 110 pounds on the suction side, getting nice and cool inside. Right around 220 on the high side. Temperature is 46, fluctuating between about 48 and 46 as far as I could tell, and about 66. So we have around, 8 degrees of subcooling and between 10, 12 degrees of superheat. So everything looks pretty good there. We had our 18-degree differential inside, which kind of indicates that we have about probably around 45 to 50% relative humidity inside. So everything's looking good. The machine is performing well. I'm going to let it see if it'll produce any water. It is kind of dry today, so it may not produce much water. But I'm going to stick around for a little while. But it looks like this thing is in the books. There's our dryer vent over there. There's our dryer vent cap, all in place. Just a little bit of ductwork damage up at the front of the house. We'll probably have to come back and take a look at. But as for today, this thing is good to go. Got everything all caulked up over there. So that's all for this one. The old Goodman GSZ 140 181 KB is in the books. See you guys on the next one. Guys, running heat. I am finished packing up the truck, heading out of here. Got a little bit more trash to load up, but everything was successful. Job went smoothly, except for a couple small things which I'll discuss on the ride to the next job. Nothing major, just little things that happen along the way. I just left my Goodman job. I stopped at United Refrigeration because they sell Thermal Zone, and they still have some dry charge units in stock, believe it or not. They had a few dry charge units in stock, and I needed one 3-ton for a doctor's office where they are going to stay to the end of their lease, which is about another year, is what the doctor said. And they didn't want to replace the entire system, so we're going to replace the dry charge unit, or replace the unit in the back because it's oversized, and do some ductwork modifications to increase airflow, and hopefully that'll get them through to the end. It was a question of spending about $2,000 more to do the whole system, and they just didn't want to do it. So which is fine. I'll put 407C in, and even though it's a mismatch, we'll make it the best it can possibly be. And it is what it is. But my Goodman unit did have one issue. While I was testing it, I ran it in heat for a while, and it was doing fine. The strips were working fine. The heat pump was working fine. And then I turned it into cooling, and I waited, and it never came on, and I went inside. The thermostat was blank. So I took the thermostat off the wall, because you can test those in place, and it had about 3 volts between R and C, which is hot and common. So since it had 3 volts and the non-contact voltage feature on my meter was ringing off, I knew that the power was still on, but for some reason there wasn't a good amount of voltage between red, which was 24 volt hot, and common. One of the main reasons that occurs is if you lose a common. Just like if you lose a neutral on a high voltage circuit, you'll have some screwy voltages that are about half of what they normally are or less. But this one was only about 3 or 4 volts. So I went down into the crawl space. I went out to the wire nut on the common wires, and I took it apart, and one of the wires had broken when it was installed. So just one twist too many, or a wire that was weak or something, because it was new wire, so it's kind of strange. But I remade the wire, and everything's working fine. Everything ran well. You can see from me making on the tag at the end that, we had superheat subcooling, looked good. The pressures looked good for a nice cool day running in air conditioning. Our heating pressures climbed up to about the low to mid 400s, which is about right for a day when it's in the 60s, and then it's about 75 with the return air going inside. So everything looked good. Install turned out great. Our CFM was around 680. We took it twice. You see, I used 2 different methods across the grill. 680 CFM, which put us at about between 0.5 and 0.6 static pressure, which is pretty good. Probably could be a little bit lower if we had a little bit different supply trunk, or even enlarged the return. The return was 14-inch flex for 1.5 tons. We could have gone 16, but the static pressure is pretty good. It was putting out a good amount of air, so no worries there. But that's about it, guys. I'm sure I'll be doing some more installs. It's really picked up in the last couple of weeks, which is good, because the business was down this winter. Like I said, I have a dry charge in the back of the truck. I'll be doing a 3-ton split system here the next few days, and hopefully maybe even another 2.5-ton split system from the video you guys saw with the Bryant leaker. So we'll see. I have yet to hear back from them, but everybody else has given me the go-ahead. So you'll see some more installs.